You want to really set the mood. That's going back to the other steps. Really set the mood of peace and safety. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Phoenix Inn. Today I'm excited to share with you guys my most effective method for journaling for spiritual beings. Thank you for joining me and I hope you guys find this video useful. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. That helps me so I can grow as a channel and it helps you so I can put out more content for you. I filmed this video a few times, more than a few times, and I didn't realize that I had not been putting in the most important step first, which is picking a journal. You want to go ahead and buy a new journal or use something that you haven't written in already. While this isn't essential, it's great because it can create a new habit within your brain, so you know that this is a journal really for you to grow as a person and to manifest things that you desire. Step number 1 is picking a journal that's personal to you. Go ahead and pick something that's your favorite color or it has a symbol that you might like. I like bees. This is not a bee, it's a wasp, but you know, it's close enough for me, and it's green. It's a decent journal. It feels nice. I think it's leather. I'm not sure. But that doesn't really matter. As long as it's a nice journal and you like it and it's personal to you, that's what you're going to need. Step number 2, this is optional. And I didn't think of this at first. It wasn't going to be included, but you can go ahead and use some incense to cleanse your journal. And you can just do this by lighting an incense, going over it. You can just pass your journal over some fire like that, over a candle, whatever it might be. It's completely optional and you don't need to do that, but I remember I did that with my first few journals and there was some pretty good results from doing that, which made it more efficient for me because I find that after I did that, it was easier for me to revisit my journal. It didn't feel heavy, it didn't feel dark, it didn't feel like a place where I was just dumping things into the abyss. It felt like I can return to my journal whenever it is that I feel. Step number 3 is you're going to want to find a private space. So if you have a private space, that's great. If you don't, you want to go ahead and find somewhere that you can be in private, or if you can't do that, talk to the people around you and let them know that you're going to be journaling and you need quiet time, private time. So maybe set aside like an hour for journaling and let people know that you're going to need this space for an hour. Step number 4 is my favorite, which is getting your candles, getting your incense, and putting on some relaxing music. Once you have those things in order, you'll find that it sets the mood and the tone, and you'll feel like you're in a safe space. You'll feel like you're in a different reality. That's often how I feel, at least, when I have my incense, my candles, and my relaxing music. You can just put on some relaxing fantasy music or some singing bowls. You can put anything on that is relaxing. Ideally, things without lyrics. You don't want anything with lyrics or just that's something that's distracting. So just put on something relaxing. Once you have your incense lit, just go around the room, go around your space, and you can call in your ancestors, your guides, whatever it might be. You can call on Source and ask them to help you during this time of journaling. Step number 5 is how you set up your journal. So I like to go ahead and set up my journal in a very specific way, and I've been doing this for a while now. You probably won't be able to see it. And this is a journal entry I did recently, and the way I set it up was I put the month, so February, and then I put the day, the 5th, followed by Wednesday, 2020. Oh look, I messed it up. I actually had been journaling wrong. I put 2024 instead of 2025. Yeah, so then you want to put the year, so the month, the day, the year, followed by the time, 1:33 a.m. And then you want to put the moon phase. The moon phase is very important to me because it holds very specific meanings to certain things, and it's very important for reflecting and learning about certain patterns in life, breaking certain patterns. It's very important astrologically, so you want to go ahead and write the moon phase down. Admittedly, I don't memorize everything about the moon phases, and honestly, I can't even tell you what the first quarter means for journaling. I'm going to be very honest with you. But I can always just look it up and then go back into my journal and reflect on what it is that I was doing at that time. And that's what's going to be important. The time, the date, the month, all of that is going to be important because you can always look up the moon phase. You can always look up certain times and see how they reflect on patterns in life. That's what's going to be important for step number 5. Once you have your journal set up, the way I like to journal is I will start off by either Dear Universe or Dear God or Dear whatever feels personal to you, whatever you identify with. You can go ahead and write that down and then you start journaling. Step number 6 is you want to stay grounded in your space. And this one can be a bit challenging if you're trying to heal certain traumas. Certain people feel emotions very strongly, or it's advised for them to get a therapist to deal with certain emotions. But for this step, if you feel like you can handle it and you're trying to release certain traumas, heal certain traumas, you want to go ahead and make sure that you're finishing what it is that you're writing. So if it's something traumatic, go ahead and keep writing it out. If you need to take a small break, do not leave the room. And this is very important because I got to those points so many times where I didn't really want to continue and I felt the trauma trigger response that was happening. And I just wanted to not journal anymore, just get up and leave. And I was reliving whatever it was that was happening. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get up and run. You want to keep journaling, no matter how hard it is. And I know that might sound harsh. I promise you, I've been through it. You want to keep journaling. The most that'll happen is you might release some tears. You might release some negative energy. And you might be like, oh crap, I thought I was going to like run out of the room or something. Or you don't want to do that. That's why everything is in place the way it is. That's why your candles are in place, your relaxing music, your incense. That is why you set the mood. And what I find is I didn't even want to like leave the room after I got my space set up. I didn't feel like I was in an uncomfortable environment. I felt very safe. Even when those trauma responses triggered, I still felt very safe. So you want to really set the mood. That's going back to the other steps. Really set the mood of peace and safety so that when you're journaling and those traumas are coming out onto paper, you're realizing this is just the trauma. It's finding a place to go. So your trauma is just finding a place to go. If it doesn't have a place to go, it's going to stay within you. Once it's out on paper, that's pretty much it. Like, it's not going to be within you forever. The more you keep journaling, the more you'll find that those traumas are not with you. The less you'll be triggered, the less you'll have those trigger responses. So yeah, I want to stress that so much. Like, I want to really stress that, once you keep doing this, those traumas onto paper or whatever it is that you're trying to manifest onto paper, it will happen. It's all about intention. So you're not just journaling, just to journal. This isn't just all for like relaxing and all that. It's for intention. You're setting intentions so that once you get what you need to get out onto paper, that's it. You don't need to keep going back multiple times. And what I really find personal and beautiful about this method is that when I set everything, when I set the mood, that allows it for me to journal maybe once or twice. I don't have to journal a million times about the thing that I desire or the trauma that I'm trying to release. And I'm talking about heavy traumas. It will be different for everyone, but I find that when I do set the mood and I get what I need to get out onto paper and out of my body, I don't have to do it many times. My journal isn't filled with like negative things or constant wishes and desires of the same thing. So this is effective for me, and I hope it's effective for you. And just getting it out once or twice, maybe 3 times. It might be different depending on the person. So I hope that really helps you guys. Once you're done journaling everything, you might feel like, hey, that was pretty fun. I want to keep doing this. You might want to do another journal entry. You can go ahead and do that. You don't want to feel burnt out. So once you know that you're getting to the point of, I want to be done with journaling, just go ahead, close your journal, and pack it up. Put all your things away, put your candles out, turn your music off, stretch, do whatever it is you need to do, and you'll find that you feel much more grounded. Maybe if you're dealing with something traumatic, maybe not as much at first, but ideally, the goal is to feel much more grounded and to have a clear mind. That's the goal with this. You know, you don't want to feel the same as when you first sat down. You don't want to do that. You want to feel a little bit different. And that's how you know it's working. So give it a try a few times and then see where it goes. So the next step is, and suggestion is, having more than one journal. You don't, well, at least for me, I have more than one journal. I have lots of journals. But the thing is, I like to have a personal journal for positivity. I like to have a spiritual journal where I have all my records of everything that have ever happened. And it's really not that in depth because I don't write in it every day. But I like to have multiple journals. Multiple journals for different areas of things is very efficient because then you don't have all of your negativity lumped with your positive things in your journal. And I find that it's much more refreshing to go into my journal of positivity and just look back on that versus going back and looking at my journal filled with both negative and positive. Have a journal for positivity, have a journal for your spiritual things, have a journal for life, have a journal for whatever it is that you're doing. Have a journal for your work, for your careers, your interests. And I know that might sound like a lot. It's very therapeutic, so I suggest it a ton. You can even get like one of those 3-pack journals that are very thin because, you know, half of the time you're not going to go through most of the journal. It's going to take a while. So really just get out a piece of paper and, you know, some pen and just start journaling. It's one of the most effective ways of communicating, and the universe will always understand it. I hope this proved useful for you. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture and post it on the community for an example as to how I set up my journal, just so you guys can have an example. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you guys have a great night. Bye-bye.